What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again. Divisional round NFL with my game picks for the week. Pretty good week last week. We picked out 3 out of the 4 winners in the games. I think the Chiefs would have won if Travis Kelce didn't get hurt. The Titans ended up pulling that out. But these are the matches we got. We got the Steelers versus the Jags, Patriots versus the Titans, Falcons versus the Eagles. Made a good call on that Falcons over Rams game. And then the Vikings against the Saints. Some great matchups here. Despite really that Titans-Patriots game, I think that game could easily get ugly. So I'm going to go game through game, kind of giving my thoughts on each game and who I think is going to pull it out. And then a preview kind of the AFC and the NFC championships with my matchups that I think is going to happen. So drop a like in the video if you enjoyed the video last week. I'm not trying to be like some genius with these calls. I'm just trying to like say what I think is going to happen. So don't take my thoughts as like the gospel, whatever. Just kind of listen. I'm just going to have some talk with you guys about the NFL this week. So definitely try to drop a like. It really helps me out to kind of get some exposure on these videos. Let's try to get over 50 likes and subscribe to the channel to get this video next week about the NFC and AFC championships and the Super Bowl pick for that as well. So let's just get into it. Steelers versus Jaguars. Let's start in the top left here. So this isn't a rematch from the regular season. We saw the Steelers end up getting destroyed by the Jaguars 30-9. Big Ben looked absolutely garbage in that game. He threw 5 picks in that one. So I think the Steelers are going to come out in this game a little bit pissed off about that. The Jaguars offense looked pretty anemic last week against the Bills. Steelers defense is honestly worse than the Bills defense. So I think the Jags offense will look a little better here. They should be able to get the ground game going a little bit more, which should help Blake Bortles a little bit with some play action over the middle. And the Steelers are favored by 7. So people think the Steelers are probably going to win this game. But I think this game is going to be a little bit closer than people think. I think it'll be within a touchdown most of the game. If the Jaguars can just make a play at the end of the game, they honestly could win. But I think the Steelers are going to be able to pull this game out. With Big Ben playing a lot better. He's been playing very good over the last half of the season. Since that beginning of the year, he really struggled, but it seems like he's gotten that rust off. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he was kind of like debating retirement, so maybe he didn't go through his normal like routine of getting ready for the season. But he's got the weapons. He got Juju Smith-Schuster looking great, Antonio Brown coming back from the injury. Hopefully, he's 100% for Big Ben's sake. I think that Le'Veon Bell will be very active in the receiving game. So I think the Steelers will pull that game out within a touchdown, though. I think honestly, the Steelers it won't be a blowout. I think that game will be close throughout because the Jaguars really match up with them well on the defensive end with Jalen Ramsey locking down Antonio Brown. So I honestly could see the Steelers offense struggling in that game. If Blake Bortles can play how he was playing towards the end of the year, very good Blake Bortles, then the Jaguars should be able to win that game, honestly. So that should be an interesting game, though. Steelers will eke it out, though, I think. So then we got the Patriots versus the Titans. The Pats are favored by like 14 points in that one. Titans have no business being in an AFC Divisional Round game. This is like another bye week, honestly, for the Patriots. Titans is not a good team. Mariota has looked like crap the whole entire year. He looked like pretty good last week against the Chiefs, but he got pretty lucky there with that pass. I think it looked like he was like literally an inch away from being across the line of scrimmage, and then he almost throws a pick. Revis like bats it down, and then it lands right in Mariota's hands. And of course, that's like a 4-point swing there. That was huge for the game. Don't think any luck like that is going to happen in this game. They go in another hostile environment. Kind of impressive, though, going to Kansas City. Mariota honestly impressed me last week, but going to Gillette Stadium is a whole nother thing in the playoffs. The place is loud. It's just very hostile because, like, I don't know. They're the champions. Like, it's tough to go in there and pull a win off, especially in the playoffs. Then you got Tom Brady on the other side of the ball against the Titans defense. Just a terrible defense. Besides, like, Logan Ryan. Their run defense is okay, but there's no one to stop Gronk. Gronk's another field day. Then they got Chris Hogan back. So I think the Patriots win that game very convincingly. Then you got that rematch that everyone was looking for. The Steelers against the Patriots. The NFL wants it. The fans want it. So I think the Steelers-Patriots is going to end up happening again. So let's shift over to the NFC now. Falcons versus the Eagles here. The first game, the Eagles, the 1 seed. They just don't feel like a 1 seed with Nick Foles at the helm. Just read a report, honestly, this week that I think that someone thinks that he's actually injured. Nick Foles, I guess he had, I think it was like a wrist injury and elbow injury in the preseason. And the Eagles like considered shutting him down. But I guess they really wanted a backup quarterback of Nick Foles' caliber, so they just stuck him on the roster. Didn't expect him to like start at the end of the year. But someone said that they think he's still injured. So that's interesting, I think, for people to consider, and that Falcons defense is very good. I mentioned that against the Rams. They fly around. Think they can give the Eagles some trouble again offensively. Nick Foles looked kind of like lost the last 2 weeks and really limited this Eagles offense. Carson Wentz did a lot of plays just like making stuff happen. Sometimes when the offensive line kind of broke down in protection, kind of breaking some tackles and making some crazy plays. Nick Foles can't do that. He can't really move around in the pocket, so that's huge, especially against the Falcons pass rush, which is great with Vic Beasley and Claiborne. So I think the Falcons defense is really going to make the Eagles struggle. I don't see the Eagles putting up over 20 points, honestly, in this game. So it's going to be a Matt Ryan and Julio Jones to pull home this game. And Julio, he has a very solid matchup against the Eagles. Cornerbacks are not that great, which is really going to help out Julio Jones. So I think Julio Jones is going to be the difference in this game. If he has one of those crazy big games, which he has in the playoffs the last 2 years, I think the Falcons are going to win this game. And that's honestly who I'm going with. The Falcons, it is a tough spot for the Falcons to play. They do struggle outside of the dome, but we are seeing some pretty nice weather, honestly, up in the Northeast this weekend. It's like 60 degrees here in Massachusetts right now, so I expect it to be like, I think it's going to be like in the 40s on Sunday, so not bad weather. If this game was like freezing cold, I think the Falcons will honestly really struggle. It seems like they just suck outside, but if it's going to be pretty warm, then maybe they'll feel a little bit more comfortable here, and Julio Jones has a good matchup, like I said, and if they can get anything going on the ground against the Eagles, and that play-action attack, then the Falcons are going to pull it out, but I just think the Falcons are going to win. Fly, Falcons, fly. I don't even know if they have any saying, but I think the Falcons are going to win that game against the Eagles. If Carson Wentz was in that game, I would probably go with the Eagles in that one. Definitely go with the Eagles, actually, but going the Falcons, another favorite. I got 3 favorites so far in the game, but the Falcons are not the 1 seed like the Eagles, so it is a favorite on paper according to Vegas, but I don't think it's really a favorite because it is a hostile environment. Going to Philly, the Philly's still the same team besides their quarterback pretty much, so I'm going to go with the Falcons though. So that's the first 3. You got the Steelers, Patriots, Falcons. Pretty boring so far if you're just going by the spreads. But I think the Falcons are actually a big win for them over the Eagles, like I just said for 100 times. But the Vikings versus Saints is the last and final matchup. This is going to be the closest game, I think, by far. I don't really have a great read on this game. I think the Vikings are a better overall team here, but the quarterback disparity is pretty sizable, pretty reasonable, and pretty important. Like Drew Brees against Case Keenum. Case Keenum has never even sniffed a playoff game or been like playing in a playoff game before. So the fact that he's starting for the Vikings here is pretty crazy, and he has big shoes to fill because the Vikings the Super Bowl is in Minnesota, so he has a lot of pressure on his back in this game. So that could definitely get to him here. But if he just plays how he's been playing this year, I think the Vikings are going to win here. The Saints, their matchup against the Vikings defense is pretty damn bad. Like if you look at it on paper, Michael Thomas against Xavier Rhodes, that guy should shut down Michael Thomas for the most part. He's really good against big body wide receivers, which Michael Thomas is. But Ted Ginn, he might be the one guy the Saints could use, honestly. I think he might have a big week. So if Ted Ginn can really blow up this defense, that's the one way I see the Saints winning. And also with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, the Vikings' run defense is very good. They fly around. Another team that's very fast with some outside linebackers. They have Anthony Barr, he flies around. Harrison Smith, the guy's everywhere. The Vikings just have a lot of tools on defense to really stop the Saints' defense. So that is what I think is going to happen. I think the Vikings are really going to slow down the Saints' offense, and then it's going to be on Case Keenum just to keep the offense in sync and get the ball to Adam Thielen, who has a great matchup. So I think if that happens, the Vikings are going to win. They're going to be my pick for this week. But I really want to root for the Saints. It's tough. I love Drew Brees, but the Vikings are also a good story. Tough. I wish that was the NFC Championship game, honestly, the Vikings versus the Saints, but it's not. So I think the Vikings are going to win that game, though, in Minnesota. Should be the best game of the weekend, honestly. So those are my 4 picks. Steelers, Pats, Vikings, and Falcons. Went with all the 4 favorites. Kill me for it, but that's just my opinion. I'm not going to change up my opinion just because I want to not go with the favorite. If I was going to pick one upset, though, it would be the Saints, like I said. Don't have a great read on that one, but I think the Vikings just match up with them well on paper and all that good stuff. So Steelers versus the Patriots, that game is going to be insane. So many storylines in that one with James Harrison going to the Patriots, and also the end of that game, against the end of that game that they played in the beginning of the year with the catch that wasn't a catch, very controversial. So a lot of bad blood in that game between the Steelers and the Patriots. I honestly want to see it. Think that would be a great game. Then you got the Falcons versus the Vikings. Very interesting. Some storylines there. Falcons trying to rematch against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, if that could happen. Trying to get back there after being absolutely demoralized last year in the Super Bowl, so that's interesting. And then you got the Vikings, who are trying to get to the Super Bowl, which is in Minnesota, so a lot of pressure on both teams in that one. That will be a great game with the Vikings and the Falcons, and that will be played in the Dome, so that will really help the Falcons as well to get back in a Dome in Minnesota in that game. So some great games there if everything pans out like I think it will. So enjoy this weekend, guys. The NFC Divisional Round. Comment any thoughts that you have. Tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. Do whatever you have to do. If you're like a Falcons fan, if you're like an Eagles fan or something like that, then you can say like, screw me, I'm wrong, whatever you have to do. But that is just my thoughts on the game. Thought it'd be, if you guys are interested in listening or not, like to talk some NFL, so drop a like in the video if you did enjoy it. Like I said, let's try to get over 50 likes and subscribe to get this kind of content daily. I do fantasy stuff like DraftKings every single day, some analysis on that. This is more just like kind of like fun to do, talk it over with you guys, and anyone that has interest in this kind of stuff can listen to me babble on. But that is it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, so we'll see you back here next week with the AFC and NFC Championship. Enjoy your weekend, guys.